Everyone, welcome back to episode 3 of our Python for Beginners series. Today we'll go into making your Python programs interactive. We'll learn how to get inputs from users, display outputs, and format our results to make them look neat and professional. By the end of this lesson, you'll feel confident using input and print functions in your projects. And as always, there's a fun challenge at the end, so stick around and participate. Let's start from the basics. When we talk about input in Python, what does it mean? So input in Python means gathering information from the user. Let's say I want to know your name. I'm going to ask what is your name and you're going to tell me your name, alright? The input function is what I'll use to ask for your name, and then you can type in your name yourself. To type in input, open a bracket, and in quotes you're going to type in the question you want to ask the user so they know what to answer. So in this case, I want to ask the user, what is your name? So I'm putting it in a quote because it is a string data type. All right, so what is your name? Input, what is your name? So I'm asking for an input. If we run this program, can you see up here is asking the question we added inside the string, what is your name? So I can now type in the name. Let me type in my name, Oluwatosin. Enter. Can you see now that it's giving us the name as the result? So another thing we can do, we talked about variables. We can save the result inside a variable. So I'm just going to call my variable name. Okay, then I'm going to just copy whatever it is that will give me the value. Let's copy this and paste it here. Let me run again. It's still going to ask for the name because we are just running again. So let me put Oluwatosin again. Okay, enter. Can you see it's not giving us any results? So it is saved inside this variable name. So we can call for this variable anywhere. The user's name is already saved inside the variable. The input functions let user type something into your program. Whatever they type is returned as string. If you don't know what string is, in our last class, we talked about data types. So that is where you can find the explanation of string. Let's try an example where we ask for the user's age. So using the same approach we used earlier, I'm going to declare a variable called age, and I'm going to ask for a user input. Open a bracket, in quotes, I'm going to add my question. We are saying how old are you this time? So then let me add a question mark, and if I run this now, can you see it's asking how old are you? So let me say 16 and press enter. You can see that it is saved in this variable. This variable that it is saved now, that will take us to the output function. Did you notice how the program waits for you to type something in before it will continue? That's the magic of input. Always put this at the back of your mind that the value returned by input is always a string. If you need it as a number, you need to convert it. So let's try to convert this age as from string, because anytime you use input is always returned as string. Or better still, let's check the data type first. To check data type, you'll just type into brackets the variable you're trying to check the data type for. So in this case, I'm checking for this age variable. So I'm going to type the variable name and press shift enter to run, or you press this play button. Can you see it's telling us str means string? Okay, so it's currently a string data type. So if you want to convert it, you want to change data type, you're going to add int at the beginning. We want to change it to integer because age will always be an integer. It's either 1, 2, 3, is always like a whole number. So I'm adding int at the front so that whenever the user inputs their age as string, is definitely going to convert it to integer before saving it into this variable. So let's run this again. If I run this again, it's going to ask for my age. Let me type 17. Can you see that it's saved now? So let's look for the data type again. I'm just going to rerun this. Can you see now that it is an integer? Now let's explore the print function for displaying output. Output is what our program displays back to the user, like the result of a calculation or a message. So print function basically is used to display a message in Python. So I want to tell you all, welcome to Python programming. So to do that, I'm just going to type print, I'm just going to type print in brackets, and I'm going to add it in quotes because this is a string data type, and I'm going to say welcome to Python programming. And when I run this, it's going to print out the results telling you, welcoming you all to Python programming. So let's apply print functions to the input variables we had earlier. So for this one now, I can print the results out. Since I've gotten the user's name, I can come to the next line and say print, then into brackets, I'm going to add a code. So I want to say hello, then the name. So I'm going to say hello, add a comma and space after hello. So I want to say the name now. I'm going to concatenate the name with it. So to concatenate in Python, you just use a plus sign. So if I had this plus sign now, I'm going to call for this variable. You remember this variable contains the name that is already imputed. So I want to say hello, comma, space, the person's name. So I'm going to call for this variable. That's all I have to do. I don't need to type in the name again. So I'll just call for the variable, this variable, and let's run it again to see what it shows us. So if I run it again, what is your name? I'll type in the name, Oluwatosin, enter. Can you see it's now telling me hello and the name I typed in. Let's try to play around it with another name. Let me say Joke. Hello Joke, can you see? So this is fun. You can play around it and we can even make it more advanced by collecting multiple inputs from user at the same time and putting everything together in a print statement. So let's say we want to get the name from a user. So I'm going to say name equals to input, then what is your name? What is your name? Then I also want to get the user's age. So I'm going to say age equals to input. And you might be wondering that, but we have one age that we run already. So if you have a variable name and you assign another value to the same variable name, it's going to overwrite the one you have before. Do you understand? So you don't really have to worry about that. So I'm going to say, how old are you? And I want to get the last input, which is location. I want to know the person's location, like where do you live? So I'm going to say location equals to input, where do you live or something. Where do you live? So now, after getting all the variables, I now want it to print out the statement I wanted to print out. So I'm going to say hello and the name the user input. So I'm saying hello, concatenate the name with it. So I'll say hello plus name, then plus I want to keep writing whatever I have here. Like I want to keep writing. So I want to say something like hello so person, you are dash years old. So the dash should be represented by age. So hello dash, that's the name. You are dash years old, that's the age. You live at dash, that will be the location. So I've said hello, the name now. So the next thing I want to say is, so I'm adding space because after the name I want to have a space there, or maybe a full stop and a space. Okay, so I want to say you are, then I'm going to add the age. You are, your age, whatever age user input, then I'm going to add years old. Okay, so the last thing I want to add now is you live at. Okay, I can keep writing that since it's a string. So you can see that it is only when I want to get the input value, which is a variable, that's when I'll add concatenation to it. If it is a string, like a text that I just want to display, I'm still going to write it in a quote. So I'm writing the text in the quotes while the variable is not in any quotes. So I was going to write you live at whatever location they pick. You live at location. Okay, so I think I'm done now. Or maybe if you want to add full stop at the end, but I think I'm done now. So let's run. It's going to first ask for the name. I'll say Oluwatosin. Enter. How old are you? I'll say 19. Enter. Where do you live? I live, let me just put Nigeria. Okay. Can you see now? Hello, Oluwatosin. You are 19 years old. You live at Nigeria, or you live in Nigeria, whatever. You can correct that. So you can see your print statement. You can combine every input the user, so you can collect more inputs and you can do a lot with this. So I'd like you to explore it. But let's take it a step further using F strings. So F strings allow us to format outputs in a much cleaner way. So to explain the F string, let's use this as an example. Here we have to get the age of the user, and then we've converted the age to an integer, right? So now I just want it to print that the user would be so years in 5 years time. So we are going to add 5 to plus whatever age they input and give it as our print statement as the output. So what I'm going to do is using the F string, right? So we're going to do print, then in brackets you're going to have your F, all right, and then add a quote. So inside the quote you're going to type in your value. So we can say in 5 years you will be. So we want to have the age plus 5 to give them the result of what they will be in 5 years. So I want to open this curly bracket. I'm going to call for this variable name, which is the age. All right, then I'll do plus 5. I'll come out of the curly bracket and I'll put years old. Okay, so let's run this and see what happens. So how old are you? Let me put 20. Enter. Can you see in 5 years you will be 25 years old? So this is the power of F string. F string makes your code more readable and concise. Now let's combine everything that we've learned so far. We'll create a program that asks the user for their favorite number, doubles it, and prints the result in a nice format. So first things first, we have to get the favorite number of the user. So we are going to call it, let me just do fav_num. That's the variable name I'm giving it. So I'm going to ask for input, but remember we are having a number, and once we use input it will be a string. So I want to automatically convert it to integer. So it gives me my results as an integer. So I'll do input and I'll do what's your favorite number. That'll be the question I'm asking them. So that'll be what's your favorite number. Okay, so after getting their favorite number and I've saved it as an integer, so let's have their favorite number multiplied by 2 in another variable. Let's call it doubled_num, and I'll say it is equals to whatever favorite number the user input multiplied by 2. That's what I want to do. So I'll call for the first variable, which takes in their favorite number, and then multiply it by 2. So the result doubled will be saved inside this doubled number. So let's now put in our print statement for the output that we want to show to the user. So now we want to print. We want to use the F string now. So we write F, and in quotes we are going to say the double of your favorite number, the double of your favorite number is, and then you now had your curly brackets like we did before, and then you are going to call this this variable name with the double value. So I'm going to call the variable that's doubled number. All right, then I can come here, just add a full stop to it. You may or may not. So let's run this. So if I run this, it's going to ask me for my favorite number. Let's say 6. I don't know. Can you see the double of your favorite number is 12? Alright, it's time for your challenge, and here is what I want you to do. I want you to create a Python script that asks the users for their favorite numbers, doubles the number, prints the result using an F string. I know you may be wondering, but this challenge is too simple. I'm taking it slow on you guys. Today, we've learned how to make our Python programs interactive using the input and print function. We also explored F strings to format the output. These skills are foundational, so you need to understand how it works before you can proceed to the advanced ones. So if you enjoyed watching this video, don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next episode where we'll talk about arithmetic operators. Thanks for watching, and I can't wait to see your challenge solution. See you in the next video.